Dueling Divas.
That's all we need.
Well, darling.
I thought, darling, we always
Hello, darling.
We always wanted to be your background laughers on stage.
Dueling divas.
Hello, soldiers. I'm Tina's sister, Tuna.
Phew!
Where do you think I got those funky moves, baby? Hello, darling.
Do you remember when you first met us?
I didn't know what to think. I still don't know what to think.
Oh,
when
God.
you two are together, I lose.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, that's
I
not
never
true.
win.
No, we win. We do win when we're with you.
Yeah.
But when we first did the first Police Academy movie, do you remember when we first time I saw you, you were sitting in the hallway in a scene. And I thought, so that's the man with the magic vocal cords.
Yep.
Mr. Vocal Vision himself.
Oh, my gosh.
That was a long time ago.
That was 19...
Oh, yeah, right,
Yeah, I know.
right. We were embryos, everyone.
Well, I was 16. It was my first job.
Yeah. No, but Michael, you were amazing.
Thank you.
You
I'm so
are-
glad to see you all. This has really made it for me.
We love you,
I'm in
baby.
heaven right now, y'all.
We love you, Michael.
It's stereo.
But Michael, is it true that Paul saw your act and that was he got the idea for Police Academy? I mean, I've heard a variety
They
of
wrote
different...
me into it. They wrote me into the picture. I know. I think Neil Israel and Pat Proft had written it, and Hugh Wilson was in the process of rewriting it.
Before Paul saw you?
No, actually, there was a Cheech and Chong marathon.
Right,
The
right.
Cheech and Chong
Well,
Film
of course there
Festival
was.
marathon.
Right.
Of course there
right.
was.
Yeah, man, that's good, man. 4 hours, man. So they were taking a break, and the Cheech and Chong movies were running on a marathon. So every time they would take a break and go out there, one Cheech and Chong movie would run it, and for some reason my part would come up. And they were
Wow.
going, and Hugh Wilson kept going, who in the hell is this guy? And as you know, Hugh created WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yes, he did.
So you're going, who in the hell is this crazy guy? Oh, find out who in the hell that is.
So it came from Hugh, and then somebody went to see you do a stand-up in Long Beach or something.
Opening for Count Basie and his orchestra. So I ended up being a tech. After my second, I ended up being a tech. So I ended up setting up the speaker in the middle of the orchestra and putting the microphone inside of Count Basie's piano.
Wow.
I had portable amplification, and
Thank
that
goodness.
ended up being the only amplification for huge sections of the show. And he told Hugh and Paul, "You take good care of this young man."
Oh, wow.
And he said, "You make sure that you take good care of this young man. You help me out. He knows what he's doing. You take care of this young man."
How wonderful.
Michael.
And next thing I knew, a few days later, I said, "You're going to be in a movie."
Woo! Woo!
I was called, luckily enough, I was called to meet Hugh Wilson and Paul Maslansky at a meeting, and I got the script and I read it, and I thought, this is one of the funniest things I've ever read. I laughed out loud 3 times. I mean, the scene with Lassard. I mean, people still laugh at that. And it's
first slide.
Well, sometimes you wonder if what you find funny, other people will. Well, the
Right.
fact that people still talk about that scene and it's a
Yeah,
later,
right.
means that maybe my sense of humor was okay at that time. But I had to play this really tough character, and I'd just been doing Rhonda on Laverne and Shirley for 3 seasons, and she was a very sweet, nasty girl at the same time. She seemed so nice, and she wasn't, but she was totally passive-aggressive. So I knew if I was going to be able to play Callahan, I was going to have to be able to tell people what to do. So I rented a studio, and my ex-husband, was an ex, was almost 7 feet tall. And he used to intimidate me, so I did the scene with him until he finally said, "Stop, stop!" So I went in to meet Hugh Wilson and Paul Maslansky, did the scene, and I backed him up against the wall.
Oh, great.
I mean, it was like, hello, and I was so happy. I went, yes! And they went, what are you doing? I said, yeah, I'm up against the wall right now, Buster. And they moved, and it was truly the most fun I ever had working in my life.
That was great.
And maybe having fun in my life. It's the most fun I've had having fun in my life.
It
Yeah.
was fantastic.
It was. It's just a miracle. I got to tell you, it is a miracle, was a miracle that I got this role, because it started in New York, and I remember auditioning for Little Shop of Horrors, and the choreographer did not want me because she wanted dancers that could sing. And the musical director, Alan Menken, who wrote Beauty and the Beast and a lot of other hit songs, wanted 3 girls that could sing, and the dancing was secondary. But I can move, I can dance, So the bottom line is that they voted on it, and I got the job. I did not want to go to California. And then I thought, oh, okay. They said, we want you for the show. I prayed on it. I actually got down on my knees and prayed to God. Ellen Green's contract, she said she didn't want a girl that had boobs bigger than hers. For real.
So she decided to change that radically.
No, and then they hire me. So I get to California. I'm doing the show. And in the audience was Tony Goldwyn Jr. And then the next day, it was like, I get the call for the movie.
You know, I didn't have any idea it would be such a big hit, but I knew it would be a good movie. We were all so excited when they painted our picture on Warner Brothers. You know how big that is? Oh my God, we all got our cameras and we climbed up the scaffolding and hung out on the weekends. They painted that up there, and then they put all those things in the movie theaters, little questionnaires, and this big cutout policewoman. And we thought, oh, look, they're doing some publicity. But we still were like, we felt like somebody's, you know, long lost relative that wasn't allowed in LA. And bam, that first weekend was
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, I'm sitting there going, and of all people, Bud Friedman from the Improv was sitting one row ahead of me. For some reason that night, I don't know how.
Oh my gosh! And of course you knew him.
Yeah, and he was just. And the movie was over. He turned around, shook my hand. I said, "You know what? I think maybe I arrived."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I said, "You know what? The man I look up to, he just turned around, shook my hand, and he goes, uh-huh."
Oh, that's a great
off.
story. It meant so much to all of us.
Yeah.
I know, I was doing Women Behind Bars, and it was the Alcazar in San Francisco, and we had transvestites for our ushers and whatnot, and because it's just this really campy show, and I'm playing, you know, this prisoner, and I took the whole gang dressed like women, dressed like men. We all went to see we're going to sneak in and go to like an LA, and it was packed. So there we were standing outside the theater in our array of odd costumes and couldn't even get into my movie. So I went back the next day. It was that first weekend, and it was on a Sunday matinee, and I got in, but it was packed. What's really funny is that we never had any premieres for Police Academy.
None.
Remember, we'd have a little kind of gathering, a cast and crew screening, and then if you wanted to go to the movies on opening night, you just put some beers in your bag and pay for tickets for your friends and buy the popcorn, and you'd all sit. I mean, that's the only way we ever had parties for opening of Police Academy. But the opening night, this is my favorite. The bunch of cops in Washington, D.C., every time one would come out, would not rent the theater, they just went to the midnight showing. They could bring beer in as long as they got all their stuff out. So all these cops in Washington, D.C. would see the midnight screening on opening day of Police Academy. When we did the movies, we thought the cops would hate us. And I'm sure that some do. But finding out that it is a profession filled with such funny people, their senses of humor, maybe it's because they deal with the macabre all day long, and they deal with the harder side of life, that they have this marvelous acceptance of self-parody.
There's some great folks out there.
Oh
Great
my
people.
God.
Remember the time that we almost got in trouble and got put in the gulag?
Listen, you kept us out of, the first thing is you and myself and David Graff, bless his soul, he's no longer with us, but we went to Red Square, and it was still like
Martial law.
Martial law. They'd had the one coup,
Curfew,
but they
yeah.
didn't have the second coup. And we went there, all of a sudden, we were standing in the middle of Red Square, hardly anybody was around. Remember, people came out of the woodworks, and they said, Police Academy, and they were having us sign things. And it wasn't even legal to have Police Academy shown in Moscow at that time. These were all bootlegged videos that people had gotten. We were
From the
stars
kiosks,
in Moscow. But we lost all of our locations.
Yeah,
we would go to work on something like the airport or a big municipal building, and a new person would be in charge every day. So we'd get on the bus, and we'd go there, and then we'd go home. So we didn't get to do a lot of the scenes. We didn't get to complete a lot of things. But we had this curfew. We had to finish it, be home by 10 o'clock, I think. So they would cut it right to the wire. So we'd be in a car, and we all tried to get into the car with Michael, whichever car you were in, because what happened.
It was a Lada. It was the little Russian.
The Lada,
the little car.
The little
tiny,
one.
yeah.
Well, the first time it happened, they stopped us and they said, no, and the machine guns and whatnot, and a very few cars out, and we're trying to make it home, and we still have a few minutes, but they don't go by the specific things. At least that particular police department did not. And they said, but we're from Police Academy, and they're going, no, yet, like they don't believe it. So someone says to you, Michael, get out of the car and do. So Michael gets out of the car in front of, I guess, two guys with the giant, Kalashnikov.
Kalashnikovs. Yeah,
Rulas.
and they're loaded too.
And he gets out of the car and he's doing the sounds. He starts doing the sounds that you do in Police Academy, and they go, Policia Academy, yeah, and they say, oh, go. We get back in the car and we go home. If we, in that particular situation, had not had Michael, it would have probably been all night.
We would have been in a gulag.
You know, yeah.
Unbelievable.
The gulag being tortured, which torture is not funny
Unbelievable.
anymore.
It was my first revolution and my last. Thank you.
I understand.
that joke.
He said, hey,
How
Mike,
irritated.
he turned to you. He said, Michael, look, they pay you for this shit.
Yeah, Bubba had his arm. He had his one hand all the way around my neck, all the way around. One hand completely around me. He goes,
hey, you ain't gotta make these noises all the time.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You think that's funny? I'm gonna deal with you after
Oh.
finish shooting.
Okay.
That was hysterical. Bubba tells me that story.
I remember when I was on Laverne and Shirley, they gave me a dressing room upstairs on the soundstage. So Eddie Mecca had one upstairs too. But I mean, and I said to somebody recently, they said, well, your dressing room was downstairs and was in on the soundstage, and I said, no, it was upstairs. And they went, upstairs. I said, wow, nobody has to dress upstairs. Somebody came in and stole my trumpet and my bras. I thought, what a great
your trumpet
combination.
and your bras.
You haven't found it on eBay?
That's another movie we ain't gonna
Never.
talk about.
Baby,
did
those
they do
bras.
You play
Those.
trumpet?
I always felt that he always made me feel like I was at home. And Michael has that quality. You just are always treated special. And he was always a caring person. And he said, Marion, we're going to do something. We're going to do some great things. He said, you just wait and see. He always would encourage me and hang in there. And I love Michael.
Your talent is beyond words. It's absolutely extraordinary. There's no one like you. Now, not only do you do sounds and noises, but you're a fine actor. You're a director. You're a writer. There's no limit to what you can do, and there's no limit to how fortunate I feel that we work together, and that we got to know each other.
Thank you, Marion. Marion Ramsey, ladies and gentlemen. Leslie Easterbrook.